Welcome to ClipNotes.
The movie!
Captain America, the first Avenger.
The plot!
In the midst of World War II, an experimental serum turns a military reject into a super soldier who takes on the Nazi Advanced Weapons Division as he struggles to find his place in the war.
The characters!
Captain America, aka Steve Rogers, a pure-of-heart patriot and soldier with medically enhanced strength and abilities. Agent Carter, an English soldier. Colonel Phillips, an American soldier. Bucky Barnes, an army sergeant and Steve's best friend. Howard Stark, a brilliant scientist with a lot of money. Abraham Erskine, a doctor who is working on a serum to create a super soldier. Red Skull, aka Johann Schmidt, leader of Hydra, the Nazis' Advanced Weapons Division, and also a failed result of Erskine's early attempts at the serum. And the Howling Commandos. This guy, that guy, that's not really important. Everybody knew, whether they read the comics or not, that this movie's purpose was to segue into a larger franchise. So it falls into a timeline of like 5,000 other films. We're gonna put it over here during World War II. That's way away from the other ones. And here it goes. What happens first? Modern day. Some guys are excavating a big ship or something in the ice tundra of somewhere. Is it a spaceship? Or is it a spaceship? You don't know, but they find this shield. Call the government! Flashback. Norway, 1942. In an old church, a bunch of Nazis show up all subtle-like. A whole group of guys can't open this sarcophagus, but then comes Agent Johann Schmidt, and just zip, pops it open and grabs this dead guy's Rubik's Cube. He calls it the Tesseract, the jewel of Odin's treasure room. So it belongs to this guy, from this movie. See, because we're in Norway, and that's where all those Vikings and all that Thor and Odin stuff came from. But then he smashes it, and he makes some threats, finds the real Tesseract, pretty much on his own anyway, and that shit glows better than a Pulp Fiction suitcase. Then he's all... Oh, in the desert. Everyone says this is a reference to Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is possible because Indiana Jones is owned by Lucasfilm, and Lucasfilm is owned by Disney, who also owns Marvel. But I don't know why he's so full of himself here, because Adolf did manage to find the Ark of the Covenant, and yeah, it melted everyone's face, but you ain't one to talk, bro. Then he starts killing villagers and shoots his kindly old man.
That one's for the North, you bastard!
Now we're introduced to Steve Rogers. He's skinny, he's weak, and he just wants to join the war effort. His parents were both killed or something. His paperwork is just a laundry list of medical problems, not including whatever condition gave him this freaky-ass deep voice.
He was in the 107th Infantry.
He's like a white Isaac Hayes with the body of a white Steve Urkel. They give him the old 4F, which is the U.S. military's nice way of saying you're not good enough to die. Steve goes to the theater and watches some U.S. newsreel about the war.
Nice work, Timi.
Thanks, old-timey news guy. Some jerk-ass starts yelling that he just wants the cartoon to start, but really this guy is just saying what we're all feeling as we trudge through another superhero's origin story.
Get on with it!
Steve yells at him, and that leads to an alleyway fight. Steve displays his natural affinity for round shields. That's a weird habit to develop, dude. Then Steve says...
I can do this all day.
Not getting his ass kicked, that's got a limit. He means standing up to a bully. Then another soldier turns up and kicks the big jerk, which makes him silently run away so that the scene can continue. Enter Bucky Barnes, aka this kid. Okay, movies, whatever you say. Bucky gives him a quick lecture about lying on the enlistment forms, because apparently Steve has been trying to get enlisted for a while. Bucky says he's shipping out for the war, so they...
Hey, he littered! That's not okay!
Signs of a clear psychopath in the making. Bucky takes him to the World Exposition of Tomorrow, and he's got them a couple of cute girls. Hey, look, it's the Human Torch. Who cares? Not that Human Torch. Go see Howard Stark. Yeah, that's Tony Stark's dad. Steve ducks out on the double date to attempt to enlist again. Bucky tries to talk him out of it. This haggard scientist-looking dude overhears this and is like, I think that kid will be good for my comic book superhero experiment. Obviously. Bucky leaves to go have a three-way, and Steve starts his examination. But then haggard scientist guy, Dr. Erskine, comes on in and, oh, he knows about Steve lying to get in the army like 5 times now. So he tells him maybe he can get him in. And then he gets him in. 1A stamp. That's, I guess, the opposite of a 4F. I don't know these things. So over in the mountains, some evil shit is going down. Nazi talk. Another Thor reference. This is Dr. Zola. He looks like this in the comic book. Kinda different. They're building some wacky new machines to use the power of the Tesseract. And by God, they do it. They get all Nazi nerdgasm over their rather vague achievement. And Steve Rogers begins his training as a soldier. Enter the Dame. Peggy Carter. Not just a dame. She punches a guy, which is okay, even though Tommy Lee Jones shows up 5 seconds later and mentions General Patton, who nearly lost his position in the military just for slapping a guy. You can tell Colonel Phillips isn't impressed by Steve being a toothpick, which takes us to the training montage. This screaming idiot tells the soldiers if they can get this flag, then they get to ride back to base. None of them can do it, as the screaming idiot points out. But Steve's just, hey guys, I win on the technicality. So Phillips and Erskine talk about Rogers. Erskine thinks he's the right guy because he's got heart. Phillips wants someone bigger and stronger, clearly not understanding the only thing that this project will achieve. Then Colonel Phillips tosses a grenade into the troops to prove which one is the hero, and Steve Rogers jumps on it to save everyone's life. The grenade goes off, the movie ends tragically. Okay, not really. Steve proves he's got what it takes, and everyone gets real pleased and smug about his brief but honorable suicide attempt. Erskine has a seat with Steve late at night and tells him the woeful tale of Johann Schmidt, the brilliant Nazi scientist who took Erskine's serum to become a super soldier, and it went bad. Erskine says the serum makes good great and bad worse, and that's why they chose little Steve Rogers. Then he feeds him a high alcohol content liquid just a few hours before an experimental body-altering procedure. Uh-oh, no, wait, he takes it back, because he's a crumbling alcoholic. How funny. Bad guy time. Zola comes in to see old Johann, and it appears they've been tracking down Erskine for some reason. He's getting a portrait painted by an artist who really hates his job and likes to paint in the shittiest lighting. I'm not sure if we're supposed to not know that he's the Red Skull, but, he's the Red Skull. Now, onward to the procedure. Steve and Peggy have a little chat about Steve's inability to give up and his inability to talk to women. He ain't never danced with a girl. They go into this antique shop, do some spy code talk. One lady says, wonderful weather. The other one says, yeah, but I always carry an umbrella with me, and she doesn't have an umbrella. That's code for, I'm here, let me in. Espionage is so intricate, because basically a staff of 25 scientists, countless military personnel, all enter this antique shop on a regular basis in broad daylight, and no one can track this, because they talk about umbrellas and weather when they go in. Steve gets ready for the procedure. Bunch of old people and guys in suits all shake hands and talk. Howard Stark shows up. There's some sci-fi techno babble, and then they dope him up with some blue jello, and off he goes. This is all pretty much the worst thing to do to someone without giving them any information beforehand. They turn up the percentage on the percentage-o-meter. God only knows what the hell's going on in there. Like, why is he glowing? Why does science always just gotta randomly glow? So the machine sparks up all, we are really doing some shit style. And they open the doodad to show the world they done vacuum formed a Ken doll, which makes all these guys happy. And Peggy Carter gets all, oh, now you're tall. I like that. Tall is better. I guess even though there's nothing special about muscles, these guys should be proud. Because, I mean, look at this guy. Compared to other muscle men of the day, actually, they should just be worried that his body is now covered in cancerous tumors. Because that don't look natural. Hey, what's that guy doing with the lighter?
Hydra spy!
Blows up the operation room, steals the serum, shoots the doctor. Man, this guy is getting results. Everybody shoots at him stormtrooper style, and he keeps on a-running. The doc dies. Steve gets all hero time on his face. More stormtrooper shooting at the bad guy. He gets in the car and the Nazis make a run for it. Peggy Carter gets all badass / suicidal, and Steve drops in and saves her, and that boy starts running too fast. He chases down the Nazi, and that results in a car accident. Steve's penchant for shields takes over again. Then the Nazi steals a kid, which is just so un-American, and off he goes. Tosses the kid in the water, but he's okay because he can swim. God bless America. Steve stops the Nazi from getting away in his super cool Hydra submarine, smashes the last of the serum. Dumbass. And the guy, ew, he pulled out his fake tooth and ate it, and now he's foaming out the mouth. That's gross, Steve. Meanwhile, at bad guy headquarters, a bunch of English-speaking Nazi Germans are lecturing Schmidt about his overspending, overkilling, swastikaing regime. He don't like this, so he fires up the old blue glowy machinery. Somebody makes a comment about it being magic. He says it's science. After a quick head count, he blasts them all away and seems pretty pleased. All the Nazis do a funky-ass salute. Schmidt doesn't want to take orders from Hitler no more, and who can blame him? I mean, Hitler was a real Hitler sometimes. Back in the good old US, they're taking Steve's blood in hopes to recreate the super serum. Howard Stark says the Hydra submarine is like crazy futuristic technology. Phillips says it's time to go after Hydra, but he won't let Steve join the fight because he was supposed to be part of an army of super soldiers, and he's just not enough, and that's sad. That's sad for Steve. But this senator dude in a suit has an idea, and he talks Steve into doing this song and dance routine in this awful costume. This is all pretty cool because they got a chance to show the old Captain America costume minus the scales. Like, what's with the scales on Captain America? Why does he have wings on his head and scales on his chest? What is this guy's spirit animal anyway? Montage time! He holds babies, he makes movies. Steve, I guess now known as Captain America, whoever that is, travels the country to raise money for the war effort. He punches Hitler.
You look fat in that hood, Chris.
This all goes great until he tries to perform for the troops. They're just depressed on account of, like, the war and PTSD and all that stuff. This guy tries to moon the cap. They don't gotta show that. This is appropriate, but no one wants to see man butt. Steve gets sad and draws a picture in the rain, and whoop, Peggy Carter shows up, gives him a little pep talk. She tells him the 107th went up against Hydra and nearly all were killed or captured. 107? That's Bucky's infantry! I hope nobody was really looking forward to Peggy and Steve getting together, because this movie's about to go all Stucky Starbucks up in this hole. So Steve goes to Colonel Phillips and asks if Bucky was killed. Phillips kinda indicates he was, and just keeps being a dick to Steve. He says there's men being held prisoner behind enemy lines, and they can't save them because it's not worth the casualties.
Hero time!
Steve packs up and grabs a really nice jacket. His hair looks good in the rain. Her hair looks bad. But women don't gotta look good in a gay romance. Now Steve has gone missing with the help of Agent Carter, and somebody took a girl's helmet with an A on it. So Captain America, Agent Carter, and Howard Stark go flying off into enemy territory. There's the A-hat. Stark takes a minute to hit on Peggy. It's awkward, but not any better than when Steve tries to hit on her. Suicide missions are the perfect time for this, guys. Nazi starts shooting at them, and out he goes. Back at Hydra HQ, Schmidt is loading up the Tesseract Tesseract-powered factory weapon stuff, and little Doc Zola just doesn't like how he's pushing. The 107 prisoners are being put in a little prison, and Captain America is sneaking in. He hops in the back of a truck, takes out a couple of Hydra guys. Dude, Steve Rogers loves shields. He grabs some glowy Tesseract shit and gets to the prisoners, frees the soldiers who start getting themselves killed immediately. Some of them do okay. Schmidt ain't too happy. The 107 starts kicking ass. Schmidt starts flipping buttons when he sees Captain America coming, which is just too much for Zola. Hey, that blueprint! That looks like comic book Zola. Are we? No? Okay, goodbye, Zola. Captain America keeps running around until he finds a babbling, zoned-out Bucky Barnes being held in Zola's lab.
Thought you were smaller.
Yay! There's a little bit of buddy banter as the two attempt to escape Hydra HQ while it's exploding. I guess that's what the buttons did. Just when things seem like they couldn't get any worse, Schmidt makes an appearance and confronts Captain America, saying he is a great admirer of his films, which is kind of adorable if you think about it. To think of the Red Skull just sitting around and making time to watch those little movies. Finally, they bring out the fisticuffs, and off comes the damn face! Seriously, if you are the Red Skull, open with that. Just like, stay like that all the time. Why are you wearing a Mission Impossible mask? Why? The factory continues to explode while these two lovebirds escape. Zola escapes, Red Skull escapes, everybody escapes. You do gotta kinda head into the filmmakers here because this feels like a third act climax, and we're only halfway through the movie. Oh wait, they're writing up Captain America as killed in action. Guess he didn't escape. End of the movie, no spoilers here. Maybe he's dead. Phillips is mad at Agent Carter up until, Captain America shows up with all the soldiers he saved. Bunch of good old boys, hauling Hydra gear and looking cool as hell. Finally, Phillip chills TFO. Agent Carter acts pissed. I think this is flirting. I can't tell. I mean, ever. Yay for Captain America again. Stan Lee. So Cap is super busy helping U.S. forces locate Hydra bases. Phillips says he's putting together a team for Captain America to go and wipe out Hydra. Oh my god, it's Natalie Dormer. First Peggy's got Bucky as a rival, and now this. That whole I'm pissed at you flirting technique might not be enough. Steve asks the 107 survivors to go back into battle with him. They're into it. Peggy shows up in a red dress and kinda hints that she wants to dance with old Captain America when the war is over. Oh, the jealousy is palpable. Meanwhile, Howard Stark is messing with the Tesseract tech, and yeah, that's what happens. And Steve comes looking for Howard Stark. Natalie Dormer turns on the charm, and yep, time to start writing some more fan fiction, kids. Agent Carter catches Captain America doing absolutely nothing wrong and guilt trips him. Yeah, that's real cool. Blah, 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 I'm jealous, blah, 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 I don't care. Howard Stark explains what fondue is and shows Steve some new advancements for his costume and for his shield. Steve can't get over the shield. I'm sure his therapist would have something to say about that. He grabs up this round one made of vibranium, as Howard Stark explained. The rarest metal on Earth. Agent Carter interrupts, already pissed off, and shoots at Captain America. Is this supposed to be cute? Only two people have shot at Captain America. Nazis and this angry woman. Captain tells Stark he's got some ideas to improve the uniform, and big pizzam! Here it comes. He just comes out there with a big old target right in front of him. Man, this production design team really had their backs against the wall. This is probably one of the best designs of a comic book hero in film because you almost don't realize it's totally different because it keeps so much of the design, but it deviated so far that it almost seems practical. I mean, he looks cool, and this guy does not look cool. That is a fishman with wings on his head. In comes the blow-up Hydra montage. Red Skull is getting mad. Agent Carter and Phillips, who apparently go to the movies together, they see Captain America in a newsreel, and he's got Peggy's picture in his compass. More adventure, explosions, real interesting stuff. From this point on, Red Skull is just Red Skulling it up, and he looks damn cool. So Captain America and his infantry are trying to sneak into this train that Dr. Zola is supposed to be on. But all they find is some Hydra ammunitions and this hydrant with two big-ass guns. Zola is hiding out and giving orders. The bad guys keep on a coming. Bucky picks up the shield. Fans love this. Then the bad guy shoots, and Bucky goes flying. Fans hate this. Bye, Bucky! The commandos come busting through the glass sunroof in the train car where the villain was hiding. Now Zola is the prisoner, and the Americans are the captors. Colonel Phillips gives him a nice steak dinner, but typical of a communist Nazi shitbag, he's a vegetarian. Unbelievable! He uses a couple of intimidation tactics to get him talking, which doesn't... Oh, yeah, it works. Zola starts giving up info on the Red Skull. None of it useful, just...
is everywhere.
Generally spooky. Red Skull gives a little motivational speech to his 8 henchmen. He references the Valkyrie from Norse mythology. He gives a little reference to their icon, Hydra. That's from Greek mythology. These guys are just hoping there isn't an exam later. Whoa, okay, he has a lot more than 8 guys. I guess these guys just got ignored during the speech. So Agent Carter finds sad Cap mourning the loss of his dear old Bucky. He says he can't get drunk anymore because of the super serum, which is a good thing, Cap. Alcohol is bad for you. It slows your reaction time and gets you plugged full of holes. To the war room! They found Hydra's main base. Captain America's on a bike. This whole James Bondish kind of chase scene happens. An explosion. Another explosion. Bad guys running. Shield. 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 Fire. And Captain America is captured. Time for a villain hero pep talk.
I can do this all day.
Let's That's the American way!
It's interrupted by Cap, who meant to get captured because here comes his buddies, the Howling Commandos. Good plan, Cap. Getting captured on purpose. Not the last we'll see of that. Captain America goes after Red Skull. The U.S. troops get blasted, do some blasting. Peggy doesn't so much as ruffle a hair. More flirting, I guess. She seems a little pissed, so I guess she's flirting again. Red Skull gets on his big weird Nazi bomber thing, loads up the Tesseract, and off he goes! Colonel Phillips and Agent Carter manage to find the Red Skull's big funky ass car, and they help Cap get on the plane. But not before, like,
Finally!
I'm still not sure if this is flirting. Captain America boards the Red Skull's big plane and realizes it's loaded with bomb-shaped planes set for cities in the U.S. But he stops all the henchmen from getting on them, finds the Red Skull, and fights him. This is kind of tough for him since they both have the super serum. Amidst their fighting, Steve knocks the Tesseract out of its safe, glowy holder thing, and the Red Skull picks it up. Either he gets completely obliterated or he gets zapped up into another dimension. And since I like things with skulls, I'm hoping he's okay. Tesseract falls through the ship and into the sea, I guess. It's gone. Steve briefly talks to Agent Carter. He says the ship is moving really fast and headed for New York, so he's gotta put it in the water, which is a euphemism for committing suicide to save millions of lives. He can't slow it down, turn it, land it, but he can throttle it downward to martyr himself. So after, I don't know, like a solid hour of Captain America, he's done. The end. He tells Peggy he needs a rain check on that dance. Sacrifice, in the end, benefits Captain America, but going down as a virgin with only one kiss in the bag is pretty damn sad. It just falls a little flat here because he really phoned in on an escape plan really fast, and the feeling this entire effort from his creation to his uprising to his death all occurred so that he could wake up as an Avenger. Sorry, Peggy. Bigger franchises await! Steve crashes, the crash sinks, and spoiler alert! The war ends, goodness prevails. Howard Stark apparently running a search for Captain America, and the wreckage discovers the lost Tesseract and says, keep on looking. Gotta find Captain America! Peggy looks at some files. Everyone remembers Captain America, I guess. The end! But wait, there's less. Steve wakes up in an apartment listening to the radio. He looks super confused, especially when in comes this lady and he says the radio is playing a game that happened already, so he knows he ain't in no New York City recovery room. He bursts out of this room and he finds he's in some shiny cool facility, and agents start chasing him, and he comes out in a modern day New York City. At this point, I would have assumed I had landed on an alien planet, because none of this would be okay. The movie's entire budget gets taken care of in one massive shot of product placement, and here comes Nick Fury. He explains that Captain America has been frozen and unconscious for 70 years, and Steve is just all Debbie Downer about it, but I had a date with Peggy Carter, and she's probably dead now. Yay, the end, actually! So this entire thing was pretty much made as a commercial for the first upcoming Avengers movie. Nobody really thought that old Captain America was going to be a hit. I mean, even the title had nothing to do with the film. Captain America, subtitle, the first Avenger. The word Avengers doesn't even come up. He's not an Avenger, he's a Howling Commando. And it's the only pre-Avengers movie that didn't have its own after-credit scene. For this movie, there was a clip from the Avengers and a trailer. And because of that, this film was plagued with all sorts of Hollywood production apologues. First, they decided to make the movie. Then there were writers, they had to cast actors, and then all this production design, and then they had to shoot the movie. This is such a boring production story. But even with the director from Jurassic Park 3 and Jumanji, this movie achieved its goals. It sets up some really great films, it made a comic book world believable, and if some of the emotional scenes are a bit thin for the casual viewer, that's okay, because this is essentially a solid first act. Well, that was fun. I ate some popcorn. I hear The Winter Soldier was good. Maybe we'll check that out soon. Thanks for watching ClipNotes summary of Captain America: The First Avenger. What other movies would you like to see summed up? What franchises do you think need ClipNotes so that you can watch upcoming movies without feeling lost? More videos on the way. Say what's up in the comments below, and be sure to like and subscribe to Jabberwatching.